Wofford's really good. I mean, and that's not coach speak or whatever the heck the popular term that's used when coaches speak these days is. They're really good. Jay's done a great job. When you think about the fact that Virginia Tech's best big man was at Wofford, and Virginia Tech's starting point guard was at Wofford, and you combine those two with the guys that are in place right now, holy cow, they'd be a major problem for everyone in the country. But studying them for the last couple of days, they play like a team that's really connected. Sometimes you watch teams, and offensively, you're like, okay, we can attack them this way or that way or whatever, because there's a disconnect somewhere, or at least that's the sense you get watching. They're really connected. They never get out of the way, so that means every shot you take is difficult. They don't turn the ball over, so it's hard to get in the open court against them. And they're good. They're good. They're old. They got some, their point guard Larson seems like he's there, I think, since Dave Odom was the coach here. But he's tough as nails and can play. B.J. Mack, their power forward / center, is an older player. Has changed his body. They've got him playing with a tremendous physicality at the rim. A young man that hurt his foot in yesterday's game out of Simeon High School in Chicago. His name escapes me right now. He's number 25. Is a physical specimen that, 6'6", 6'7", 230, and plays with a motor. Obviously, I don't know if he's going to play or not, but they've got some size on the wings. They shoot it. I'm thoroughly impressed, man. I knew Jay when he was Mike's assistant, but I didn't know Jay great, and what a job he's done to keep that thing together. They've got a winning culture there, and he's kept it going.
Frank, a couple for you. Now that you've kind of had a chance to, after this first initial blitz of games, to sit down and put your feet down, what are the couple of biggest things, or one biggest thing you think the team needs to work on? And second, what's the schedule with Thanksgiving for the kids this week?
Yeah, to work on is two things, and it's kind of different. They're different things, but it pertains to the same place on the court, and that's our point guard play. Just getting Jermaine back into the speed of things. It's not easy. It's really complicated when you basically miss 3 straight weeks of practice to just put your shoes on and go hoop with only 2 practices under your belt. So getting him some practice time. Like, I thought he was really good in practice yesterday. I thought he's. Here's what happens when you don't practice and you just show up at a game. You start playing too fast because I don't care how much experience you got. You got to get to the flow of the game. I thought yesterday in practice, his first time in a while, he plays with tempo and he plays with pace rather than trying to play really fast. And some of his turnovers have been because he's just going too fast. And then the other one's Jacoby. Jacoby's. I told him he came by whatever our day off was, Friday. I don't even know what day of the week it is right now. He came by Friday, and I told him, I said, what's amazing is that you're way ahead defensively than you are offensively. And I thought, I would have sworn, if you had asked me back in October, I would have bet you it would have been the other way around. And trying to get him more comfortable offensively. He in the UAB game, he had some opportunities to take some shots from the top of the key, and he passed them up. And he's got to let those go. He's a good shooter. He works at it. But that's my job. It's to clarify him so he can be a piece mentally to play aggressively on offense. But that's the challenge. And then the week is obviously practice today, play tomorrow. We're off Wednesday. Thursday we've got practice. I'm not sure to what we will do on Thursday yet. And then the local guys are probably going to go spend the day with their families. The guys that are in town are going to come over to the house and, have a good Thanksgiving dinner, spend some time together, just relax. And then Friday, Saturday, it's game prep again for Sunday.
Frank, to piggyback off that, I know we're probably going to ask you this question.
Nice hat, by the way.
Well, I wanted, good. Who's in first, right?
You know, when that logo was popular, the Dolphins used to beat them every single time. That's why I like that hat.
This backfired on me.
We haven't beat you guys in 20 years. So.
With so many new faces, I know we asked you this heading into the season. How do you think the guys are coming together in terms of being able to mesh and build that rapport on the court? And what do you think can be able to help that over these next couple of games as we head into a new month?
Yeah, I think this team is figuring it out, man. I like yesterday in practice, we were good in practice. We weren't bad. We were just dragging at the beginning, and disconnected teams when they're dragging at the beginning. It's hard for them to drag each other into competing and doing things the right way in practice. And by the end of practice, we're really good, and that's like Keyshawn. Like you guys are not watching Keyshawn in games right now. Yesterday, he took a couple guys that weren't in the mood, and he made them practice. He's never done that in his time here before. Never. He do what he's told, and every once in a while he'll get mad about something, but he's never made others compete to the level that they have to compete for us to be good. Like I said, I thought Jermaine was really good yesterday. James and Eric Stevenson are. It's not that they don't make mistakes, but their excitement to do things the right way and be competitive it's like every single day. We got A.J. Wilson back again, so A.J. adds an older, athletic, competitive size guy that we needed, in our lineup right now. Taquan Woodley's been really good in practice. He just has to train. The games are hard, man, because games is different strategy, and you're trying to. That's where experience is so good, because the other team, when you're not sure, which is most freshmen aren't sure, because they're trying to figure it out as the game goes on. When he's doing our stuff, he's pretty confident in what we're doing, and then the game starts and the opponent does things differently than us, and it makes him hesitant, and that's where the mistakes come in. But he's been engaged. Wildens is a stud. I mean, that kid just loves to go out there and represent us and do things our way, and this team's fun. It's coming. They're pulling each other in the right direction right now. Still early, but I really enjoy what they're doing with each other right now.
Just to clarify, do you guys anticipate AJ being available tomorrow night?
That's the plan. I mean, we sat here a week ago, and the plan was the same, and then he showed up with 103 fever the next day. So unless something crazy happens, I think you'll see him in a uniform making his debut tomorrow.
And I'm not sure what Wofford's defensive profile looks like, but it seems like this team's, you mentioned, struggled with the 1-3-1 zone at times this year. How much are you preparing for that over maybe the last couple of days and into this Wofford game? And as a coach, how do you train your team to attack that when teams are trying to 1-3-1 you?
Yeah. It's crazy. When you're going through your preseason and you've got a team with so many first-year players, you're trying to create a foundation for what your team is going to be about. And then you go through a checklist. Like, we'll put a checklist of stuff that we have to cover to be prepared for a game. The worst thing you can do as a coach is a game starts and something takes place in the game that your team is not prepared for. So then there's things that happen a lot, things that happen some, and then obviously opponents have something to do with all that stuff, okay? People that play 1-3-1 defenses are few and far between. So when you're preparing a team in the preseason, that's probably one of the things that you don't, excuse me, let me not speak for others. That's one of the things that I don't spend a lot of time on. I should have paid more attention to the possibility of playing Western Kentucky and UAB back-to-back and put in a little bit more time before we went up to Asheville. And I didn't. We just run out of time, you know. High school, you've heard me say this before, it's a little easier because I had all day on Saturdays and Sundays to prepare for as much as I needed to prepare for. Here they've got this thing called the NCAA that kind of governs that a little bit, and you know, I wasn't going to say this, but it just came to my mind. What the heck? You got some coaches that are going to do some crazy stuff in recruiting and nothing happens. Now, if you practice for 20 hours and 2 seconds, you get fired. You know, so you got to be really careful with that. You know what I mean? And so I should have invested more time than I did in preseason on that. I just thought that there were some other things that we needed to be really good at to create the foundation of our program that gives us a chance to win. And obviously playing against a 1-3-1 almost gave us a chance to lose. But we spent time on that, and we will continue to do so. I attack 1-3-1s 2 different ways. Everything's personnel driven on your team. If I start giving you all that stuff, then, you know, but it's no secrets. All our games are on TV. But I believe, here's my opinion, okay? When you play, I consider a 1-3-1, I don't like using the word junk, but a junk defense. And in basketball, we use junk defenses for like triangle and 2, box on 1, triangle and 1-3-1. Gimmicky. There you go. That's a better word than junk. Junk's not a good word because people practice that. It's hard to call something people practice junk. But if you're going to play with 4 defenders above the foul line, we don't need to mess around. We need to get the ball behind your defense and attack the rim. That's the best way I can describe it. And we haven't been very good at that. We've been very passive up here. And we have to get better at being more aggressive to get it behind the defense. Is that? Yeah. If I get into the strategy to do that, I'll probably confuse myself, not you. Yeah, but with best answer I can give you is there's 4 guys above the foul line. You see the 3 that James Reese made late in the game off the sideline out of bounds play? I spent the whole second half begging our guys to pass the ball to that guy in the corner, and we wouldn't pass it. And that's what I mean. We got to be more aggressive to get that ball back there.
You've talked a lot about the play of your bigs, play at the 4, especially perimeter defense. How's that coming along in practice, and what kind of impact do you think A.J. Wilson could make in that regard when he comes back? Yeah,
I think we were asking Josh Gray to do something that he's not ready. Take on a responsibility that number one, he barely practiced in the preseason at the 4, and then number 2. Asking him to do things that he's never been asked to do before, which is defend basically a perimeter player. That's what Upstate had. That's what Princeton had. That's what. By the way, Princeton's pretty good, aren't they? They they just beat Oregon State at Oregon State. That's what Princeton had. That's what Western had, and it's not fair to him to put him in that moment right now. And but he's continued to work at it, and we've continued to push him there. Taekwon, like I said, he's really, really working at it. And then Brandon, obviously, has given us a sense of neutralized that defensive deficiency that we had at that spot. But putting him at the 4, we've had to kind of some last-second offensive adjustments to have us play more to his strengths rather than the other way around. AJ, he's a shot blocker. He's a rebounder. He's 6'7", 6'8", 230 pounds. He can run. He's strong in the low post. He can step out and defend on the perimeter. I mean, he's the oldest guy on our team. He's been through a lot of big games in his career. He's played a lot of unbelievable opponents. It's not having him, it's not. It's part of coaching a season is, just getting other guys raise their hand and say, all right, I'll take on that responsibility in the meantime. And I think that's what the guys have done. But at the same time, having AJ back should help us.
Frank, last year you told us that you weren't super proud of your team's physicality and toughness on defense. This year it's still early, but do you feel like you're seeing the guys kind of get back to your style of defense on the court?
Absolutely. Outside of the little 3-4 minute second half window against UAB there, where we just kind of relaxed and allowed them to get the spots and get shots and get offensive rebounds. I think this team's really, really locked in as far as competing defensively and getting through screens and helping each other. Our rotations still aren't great, but it's early in the year. It's we got a lot of first-year guys, so we got to keep working on that. But I think our initial hit defense is pretty good. We just got to keep working at it. The one thing that I'm not going to say I'm disappointed, I think A.J. Wilson will add a component there is shot blocking hasn't been as good as it needs to be. Josh Gray's got to help us there. Taquan Woodley has the ability to block shots. A.J. Wilson's a shot blocker. I could be wrong. I think he's a leading shot blocker in the history of George Mason, if I'm not mistaken. Wildens, as he continues to grow as a player, he'll continue to block shots. Like Wildens leads us in charges taken. So he's protecting the rim. Now we need him to add the block shot component.
I know you haven't watched a lot in terms of breaking down film, but most SEC teams have played about 4 games so far this season. Wondering if you've noticed anything with regard to the conference and anything different, style of play, anything kind of jump out at you, the early results?
Yeah, no, I come New Year's Eve, everyone's celebrating a new year, and I kind of stick my face into the SEC, and away we go. Some coaches study other people's rosters and they know every stat that every new player had and whatever. This is what I know. Our league's really hard. Every team's going to have really good players. Last time I checked, Bruce Pearl's a Final Four coach. Rick Barnes is a Final Four coach. Ben Howland's a Final Four coach. John Calipari's a national championship coach. Just keep going. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be no different this year. Come late December, I'll zero in and start watching. If I start watching those SEC teams now, the way my brain works, I'm going to cheat our guys from being prepared for Wofford. Have I seen some of those scores? I have. And there's been some tight games. I'm just telling you, mid-major schools early in the year are going to be better prepared than the high-major schools. I think that's across the country, not an SEC deal. But we just got to keep banging away and keep our heads down and keep worrying about getting better. I think all the teams in the league by January, late January sometime, you're going to see some really, really good teams. I think we've got, based on the little information I've paid attention to, that there's 2 or 3 teams in our league that are really, really good. And then there's a group of whatever number of schools, probably the rest of the schools, that we're all kind of bunched up in there. And it's going to be survival of the fittest. and which I think we're one of those schools. How that shakes up and ends up, I don't know, John. But I think must be the Starbucks guy just transformed himself into a gnat and bothered me up here. I think there's probably 3 teams that, because of returning personnel, established coaches, and talent of first-year players, that are probably really, really good. And the biggest reason is because of returning personnel. But outside of that, I think everyone else is kind of bunched up in there, and who the heck knows how this turns out.
Frank, obviously Keyshawn's set to come back, I think, Sunday, if my math's correct on that. How have you seen him handle the first couple weeks of the season and having to miss these games? And what kind of team do you think you guys can be reincorporating him back into the offense and having him actually play in games for you guys?
Yeah, he's been awesome, man. He's handled himself like a champ. I mean, obviously he's had a day here or there where he kind of gets quiet, for obvious reasons. But he's been awesome, and he's been what he did yesterday. He's never done that here before. He's had days where he gets mad and just cusses at somebody, but that's not helping anybody. Yesterday he was like demanding, like, this is who we are, and do this, and if not, don't come on the floor, and trying to help the other guys to do their jobs better. And that was fun to watch. He's shooting the ball a heck of a lot better. I mean, he spent a lot of time. He's been a better shooter every year he's been here, but he's put in more time since last season ended until now on his own shooting the basketball, and he's shooting it like really well. I hope that carries over to games. Now, how do we reincorporate him in there? That's the advantage of coaching somebody for 3 years. That I have an understanding of who he is. He's got an understanding of me. Last year he led us, I think, in field goal percentage and points per game. Second in rebounding, if I'm not mistaken. Second in block shots, if I'm not mistaken. Those are stats that I'll take. Obviously, we all talk about his dunking, but it's he meshes well. If you sit and watch our team, if there's one thing that you look at and you probably say, hey, they kind of it's. Kind of size and athleticism on the perimeter right now. It's the one thing that maybe it's not that we're small. Jermaine's 6'4", 210. Eric Stevenson is 6'4", about the same weight. Reese is thin, but Reese is one of those wiry, thin, strong, athletic players. But Devin's, 6'3", 6, long arms, really strong and wiry. Keyshawn gives us that athleticism where he can go make some plays over the top of the defense sometimes. And with his added ability to shoot, he should be able to help us. And blocking shots. That's the one thing that I'm a little disappointed in, is I thought we'd be a better shot blocking team right now than what we are. Keyshawn will add to that.
Anybody got a last question for Frank?
Slightly off topic, but what's your go-to Thanksgiving plate when you sit down to eat?
Ooh. I shouldn't name it. You don't grow up to be 270 pounds because you're picky about Thanksgiving food. I like fried turkey myself. It's I tend to cook one in the fryer and one in the Traeger. Smoke one and cook one and fry one. I like the fried turkey myself. I love collard greens, so well-prepared collard greens. It's something that I'll crush. I'm a stuffing guy. I know some people look at stuffing and start making faces. I kind of like stuffing because stuffing's made with bread, and anything that's got bread is good in my plate. And I don't know what else. Sweet potato. I love sweet potatoes. You cook sweet potatoes however you want to cook them, I'm eating them. So I'm a sweet potato guy. Pecan pie. You know, I haven't had pecan pie. I'm actually trying to eat since last year, all the crap I went through, I've decided I was going to eat really healthy, and I'm actually down to 266. I haven't been this light since the Final Four year. And my goal is to get to 250. So I got 16 to go. But Thanksgiving Day, I'm going to put a dent in it. I'm going to try and get back up to 290 on Thanksgiving Day.